Om Sadashiva Samarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Param Param Ishvaro Guratmeti Mochi Veda Vibhagine Vyomabda Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Sava Vedanta Sedanta Gocharam Tamagocharam Govindam Paramanandam Satguru Pranatoshmaham Om Om Shanti 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 Om Namaste and welcome to Satsang. We are on Panchadasi. We are on the page 91. Actually, we are on the page 92. It's verse 99. Elizabeth, I don't know because I have the electronic ebook here, no? the electronic version, and I saw Elizabeth with the paper book. I don't know if the
it's on page 88.
88
for paper book.
Okay, so we are looking into the fruit of discrimination, and we have been discriminating the consciousness from the elements. That was the latest thing we did, and then we.
So which verse is? Sorry, which verse is it?
99.
Because I got verse 89. Oh.
99. What's the page again, Lynn?
Page 88, verse 99.
Page 88.
Verse 99.
Okay. All right. So we are looking to the fruits of this satya mithya discrimination or consciousness in opposition or consciousness as satya, and then whatsoever phenomenal object, let's say, being the elements, our last angle of discrimination we have exercised lately. And that took us to the verse 99, in which we say that when a deep impression, Jagan Mithya and Vasana, has been created in the mind about the apparent nature of Maya, the elements and their derivatives, the knowledge of the nature of the self becomes permanent. Okay. So we could say here that we definitely need to develop this satya mithya discrimination, vasana, okay? We want to discriminate satya from mithya, meaning to say the seer from the seen, the subject, the true absolute subject from anything that can be seen by this consciousness, this satchit, aspect of Brahman. So we want to do that, and we need to do it in a way that it becomes a habit. Why this habit is important? Because then the more we have it clear, the more we have it always present in the mind, the less often we are caught up in mithya and we take it to be reality, or we take it to be truth, we take it to be real. So we need to keep that vision, that perspective, so that we can be immune to this common confusion, of just seeing myself as the instrument of experience, the body-mind complex and its experience, okay, including the experience of the elements. So we need to, and there are two aspects to this one here. We want to have this, the knowledge of the nature of the self always available, permanently available. And we have to do it. And the means by which we do that can be somewhat different. But the common denominator is that we have to be properly established in consciousness as consciousness, in awareness as awareness, okay? Regardless of what tool we have used, we need to see the world as matter/energy, and I myself as the light of conscious existence, okay? So that is the end game here. So, I mean, we can see it's we need to be established in non-duality. It's okay, but the most fundamental thing is I need to be established in consciousness as consciousness, because duality, as we know, is not going to disappear. So I need to be established in consciousness as consciousness. And definitely for that, I need to make this habit, this vasana, properly developed to detach myself from my experience, to put it in a simple language. I need to detach myself from my emotional, mental experience. Again and again, I say, no, nothing can really touch me. I am the light in which this emotional experience is taking place, right? So that is the impression, this vasana, for this discrimination that leads us to this hard and fast self-knowledge or certainty in regards to what I am really in reality. So the following verse, the verse number 100, because we have covered this verse last week. The following verse, the verse 100, says that whatever classifications of objects one finds in various philosophies are fine with Vedanta, because they are all mithya. So in this verse, Vidyaranya is addressing this huge varieties of schools of thoughts in which these thinkers, these philosophers, start structuring this apparent reality, and they take it too serious to the extent of really structuring it in so many different classifications and values and high and low and so on. It's all mithya, you understand? It's all mithya. We don't need to go crazy about mithya and go about, describing it in such details or numbers of classifications, okay? So they are all objects, they are all phenomena, they are all illumined and revealed by the light of consciousness, and I am this light, okay? So it's all mithya. We don't take much interest in these classifications. That's why Vedanta does not take much interest in all these mystical, esoteric divisions and worlds above and worlds below and traveling. This is all mithya, you understand? And I am the light, and all these things, this conceptual universe, they are happening in the mind, they are happening in mithya. Huh? So they are all mithya. Additionally, and then there is a note here from James, additionally, whatever contrary notions of enlightenment to the idea that moksha, liberation, is based on the discrimination between satya and mithya, one hears in the modern spiritual world, are equally fine because they are mithya. So again, he just adds to that notion. So any attacks, any contrary objections or notions against these declarations of Vedanta, and especially the ones that say the liberation is not an experience. Liberation is based on the knowledge, the certainty of knowledge in respect to what you really are. So people out there, they don't buy into these things. They cannot understand these things, and they criticize Vedanta. Everybody criticizes the Upanishad, saying that this is a philosophy or something like that, So whatever contrary notions they have, against the statements of the Upanishads, which says that liberation depends on this discrimination between the seer and the seen, the subject and the object. Why discrimination is the most fundamental key here? Because you have to separate you have to undo this confusion between what you are and what was superimposed in you, like pictures on the screen of a cinema. So you need to separate the screen from the pictures, and otherwise you are confused. You understand? So we need discrimination between the screen and and superimposition is fundamental, because you want to isolate the screen and claim your identity as this mirror, this reflecting consciousness of this, or this screen on which these objects will project, right? So here James says, additionally, whatever criticism in regards to Vedanta's statements that enlightenment depends on the discrimination between the satya and mithya, they're okay with us, meaning to say Vedanta does not care about that, because all these criticisms are in mithya, okay? And it's okay, we can say all of these attacks, they are in mithya, and all we say is that you are satya, but the person does not want to hear you are satya. They want to go and say, no, let's go back to mithya and let's discuss your philosophy against mine and blah, 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 blah. And Vedanta is a very simple school. It just say like, you are the light of consciousness and everything is being revealed by you. You are the nature of the investigator. You are there, that which is never not present, doing whatsoever investigation one wants to do, okay? It's the most simple teaching, and it's pointing out to our nature as satya, and if you want to go to mithya, it's okay, go there, knock yourself out, but know that it's all mithya, and we travel in mithya, but only to the extent that in mithya we can do some prep work to qualify the intellect to understand that you are that light of consciousness. But we know that even the teaching methodology, it's all in mithya. Vedanta body of knowledge, it's all mithya, but it's a body of knowledge in mithya, which is going to reveal the satya element, which is the substratum of mithya, including all discussions people have in the spiritual world.
This verse, Arlindo, is very similar to a verse in Mandukya Karika, where basically Gaudapada goes through all the different philosophies and just says they don't exist really because they're all mithya, and satya is the only reality.
Yeah.
He spends 3 or 4 verses just describing all the different ones and then pushes them aside just like that. Very similar to this verse.
And as we know, all of these, all philosophies, all methods, they have their limitations and defects, you understand? So you can never really grab to them. You have to use them so that they reveal the only reality, which is satya, which is the light illuminating whatsoever philosophical, spiritual discussion we have, you understand? So all systems are defect somehow and limited, including the ones of Vedanta and Upanishads, although they are the most, let's say, convincing, almost irrefutable as far as the logic, when it goes more into philosophy, into very abstract concepts, and then we can find certain limitations as well. But these limitations, it's not a problem. There is a passage that says the limitations and the defects in our philosophy, they become like ornaments, because there is a passage of in one of these Gitas that I forgot the name of the deity. Someone throw some arrows in one of the sage, and the arrows you are going to just hang around it as ornaments. It's not going to really affect the divinity, this deity. So there is a passage that says about that in regards to the flaws and limitations and defects of all philosophies, but Vedanta is not about Vedanta's philosophy. It's about revealing what we are, which is satya, which is pure limitless consciousness. Vedanta, the verse 101. Vedanta is only concerned with two existential classifications, satya and mithya. So going back to classification, it's very simple. I mean, I was just saying that Vedanta is the most simple. There is only satya and mithya. There is only spirit and matter. So if you complain that we ignore or discount these complex words of duality, with all these different classifications within mithya, within duality and vibration, and so if you complain that we ignore, we look down, or we just consider, or we discount the world of phenomenon, we wonder why you ignore non-duality, why you ignore satya, So why you don't care for mithya and all these different lokas and these things? It's mithya. Why you ignoring satya? It's a simple argument, but very, very to the point. Those who argue against Vedanta on the back of the idea that enlightenment should change experience do not understand that experience is mithya. Again, people no, it must be something that has a totally different feel of experience. You understand? No, I want to get enlightened. I want to be self-realized so that I can experience higher dimensions or whatever, There are so many of these concepts in the world. No, you're going to keep growing and being free, and then you go to all these lokas and higher dimensions, and then you're going to have celestial and transcendental experience and so on. Experience is mithya. Duality is mithya. Experience is mithya. And then here it says, a new, better, or different experience is still experience. It's still mithya, you understand? And it sounds like a total dispassion or disregard towards the experience. And it is the point, because for as long as we are caught up with this vasana of experience, we are caught up in duality. Duality is the experiencer depending on experience, object of experience. As long as we are caught up with experience, we are caught up in duality. And caught up in duality means I'm still projecting reality or value to the world of objects of experience. If I keep projecting value or reality, I'm caught up in mithya. And it don't matter if you think, no, you go to the fourth dimension, the fifth dimension, then the sixth dimension, the seventh dimension. You understand? It's all mithya. It's all mithya. And it creates dependence. It creates vasanas.
Yeah.
Yes, Lynn.
This is, of course, I don't know. I've had this question for a while because within Vyavaharika, knowledge does change experience. Dispassion is different than attachment. The whole world is perceived differently on when the knowledge is there. So what this is saying is that there's another step, is just to,
well, there isn't.
That's from the jiva's point of view. Knowledge affects experience, right?
I guess I understood your point. So, and I don't think there isn't really another step or level of understanding So dispassion is a very important qualification that which allows us to stay firmly identified with our nature as conscious existence, yeah? And that which illumines the world of object. But the fact that I illumine the world of object does not necessarily mean that I attribute reality to them or I attribute value to them, intrinsic value to them, okay? So when you say that discrimination, dispassion is something and then self-knowledge is another thing, yes and no. Dispassion is the other side of the same coin. So it is discrimination, dispassion. If you don't have dispassion, your discrimination is going to be affected because you are getting attached to objects of experience. Your preference or desires and aversions is going to affect your discriminating faculty. So you have discrimination and dispassion that have to grow, hand in hand, So and then you have this understanding that okay, all of this is mithya. I am the only reality. I am not the instrument of experience, the body-mind complex. I am the light that illumines and reveals this instrument of experience and the objects perceived by this instrument of experience. So from that perspective, you are free from the instrument of experience and the world perceived by the instrument of experience. Okay, so now you have totally, developed this dispassion toward the world because you understood that the happiness and freedom resides in the understanding of one's nature as pure light of consciousness, the illuminator. And then you start detaching your investment, the investment in the world of phenomenal objects, the world of experience. You start just, taking, and you start just putting all your attention, your interest in the light of the illuminator, because you understood that happiness, resides in satya, in my conscious existence. Yeah? So now, there is no contradiction with the fact that the world is going to appear every day. But if the individual who has this understanding, and he understands I am satya, I am consciousness, but if he or she continues projecting reality or value to the world of objects, and then maybe this certainty of self-knowledge is not yet attained. Why? Because there will be this reinforcement of these vasanas, these likes and dislikes, And I mean, each one of us have to look into it and to understand better where we stand. You understand? So it's okay to say the world is beautiful and it does not go anywhere, and I see it as Ishwara, and furthermore I see it as a Nirguna Ishwara, Brahman. Okay, and they are only name, colors, and form. They are amazing, but they are not real, and therefore I don't chase the world of objects anymore. You understand? I just see it as a passing show. So this is the final understanding and the final position of the yani, the Jivan Mukta. Yeah? But before that certainty, of course, we may continue projecting some degree of value or reality to the world.
I have the secondary question, and that is that as dispassion grows, I become less and less understandable by my friends and family. And I was visiting my sick sister, and I came back and I realized that the action was done, but there was very little feeling level in it, in terms of, oh, poor Helen, blah, blah, blah. And I start to doubt myself, whether that level of dispassion is healthy for a human being, or
Lack of love.
judge myself about, don't I love people anymore, or stuff like that. Do you have anything to contribute
No,
to help?
I understand your experience, and it's common. So, I mean, you see your sister. I see my son. My son is the one that I got most close or attached to, and I can see that sometimes I see him wasting his life, and comes a thought, oh my God, this is really sad. And then in the next moment, I correct myself. I say, so this is karma. You understand? And then when I say this is karma, and then all is perfect. Okay. When I say this is sad, and then I am involved as a father in relation to a son, because I can see that he's in trouble. You understand? For example, he's getting in more trouble. So this knowledge is going to fix it also from that angle, which is the understanding of these karmic laws. And everybody is going to go through one's process, and it's unavoidably, it goes through a lot of pain and trouble and difficulties. You understand? So we look around, we see a lot of sad people. I'm having here some close relatives that came to visit, and when I see that it's so sad to see how they live, to see that they don't understand, who they are. They don't know that happiness lies in that understanding of who they are, and they keep going sadly from one delusion to another, chasing this experience, chasing that experience, and you see people still empty and sad, So what can we do? Nothing. You understand? We can do nothing. We can be friendly, we can be generous, we can be understanding to them, but we can do nothing, because everyone goes through its own karmic process, and they have to extract some learnings from suffering, right? There's very little we can do, or nothing we can do, actually. I don't know if I have addressed your question. So there is nothing wrong about feeling dispassionate in regards to people suffering even. I don't know if your sister is suffering, but I know that every human being suffers in any case,
Yeah, that's right. And then, of course, that dispassion ends up extending to Lynn as well, Like Swami P said once, it's like you start treating the jiva that is here like a neighbor or a friend. And,
Yeah, totally.
this passion is
You have
the gift that keeps on giving, but it's kind of scary too sometimes.
Yeah. You mean to say you become dispassionate towards your jiva and its likes and dislikes and experience and so on, and whatever you see it objectively, and you are nice with it, you have some compassion, but you are not going to cry for it, because it's all mithya in any case. Anybody else?
Yes, I want to also say something about this. I think it's important, what Lynn says about this passion. I think I also understand in the question of Lynn that maybe she means also that this passion can become negative sometimes, we can say. So sometimes negative too much. It seems like as a jiva you can show like too much dispassionate, and I also thought a lot of time about that, and because when you are in middle of people, I think you sometimes you have to be dispassionate, but also adapt maybe to the situation, and this is what I do. This is the answer that I give me. I think that when you realize, the true nature of happiness, the self, and everything, of Vedanta, the knowledge of Vedanta, you also have to. I see like there is a period where your way to see life, it changed totally. So you have others understanding of what you live. So maybe it can happen that you are sometimes, this is what I see in myself. This is what I see in myself also, that sometimes you are too much, maybe I am too much dispassionate sometimes, and you have to adapt a little bit to make a good adaptation to some situation maybe needs you are. I feel I try to be at least I try to be dispassionate inside, but outside you adapt a little bit, I think. So this is what I try to do. Simply, this is the answer that I give me, because the world is so different from the view of Vedanta, so.
That's what it
And
means.
I think also that the vision of the self can give you a more wider perspective of the world, and the knowledge of the self implies also the understanding of mithya. So I think there is a lot of factor, that you have to put together, and I don't know. This is the answer that I give for this problem, because I see it also, in my life.
Yeah, no, it was very nicely put, Claudio. It's we need to we need to somehow find our balance, our way, because we have some relations, we have some roles in relation to some people. Sometimes it's family members, and I mean, I have to deal with my son, I have to deal with my granddaughter, and sometimes I am called to show a lot of passion to my granddaughter. And if I lose contact with him or her for too long, they complain that, I mean, you are not being a grandfather, and say, oh, I have to be a grandfather. And then I have to somehow play, and that's what it means to be an actor on the stage of life. You understand? You are not involved as people usually are, but sometimes you have to play as if you are involved for just karmic, dharmic, roles that we play, So, but it is different from being caught up in the world under the excuse that, oh no, I cannot upset anybody around me. This would be two extremes, you understand? Oh no, this person, I don't like this person, but the person calls me nearly every day on WhatsApp and wants to talk, It is an old relative, but somehow I don't have any interest, but I'm going to allow that the person spit on my ears every day with things that I have no interest. You understand? No, this is an extreme that I don't come to. You understand? I avoid in a nice way. I mean, as diplomatically as possible. Nowadays, with communication in the internet, sometimes you don't need much words. You just send it a little heart, and a thumbs up and a smiley face, and then everybody's happy, and you don't need to speak your mind. You just send some symbols of peace and friendship, So but we need to avoid those relations, Claudio. That's what I want to tell you. I mean, we play this within those relationships that we cannot really walk away from, let's say, and for karmic reasons. And then we need somehow to find a way to be titiksha. Titiksha is a resistance to samsaris and samsara. So since we need to have some interaction with samsara and samsaris, so we need to have some resistance, titiksha, and then we play a little bit. But it reminds me, James, when I first met him, and he used to say, I have no patience with samsaris. And then I asked him one time, how long is your patience? And then he looked at his watch and say 5 minutes at the most. You understand? Mm-hmm. So how long are you going to handle an unnecessary, samsaric interaction. So unless you have some appreciation for those hooks, from those hooks between oneself and others, that somehow this relationship may offer me some security, this some emotional security, and this some friendship that I may need tomorrow. If you have these hooks, and then you're gonna be, hooked up. But otherwise, you just say no. I have better things to do with my time, and I don't engage unnecessary samsari relationships, But some relationships, people who still go and work in the office, it's disappearing in the world. But people who has to go and work anywhere, they have to deal with the customers, like I was when I had a restaurant. Came a point that I couldn't stand that anymore. Meeting people, talking things that I had no interest, and but I had to do for some time, and I could not be unfriendly with my guests, with my clients, of course. Okay, anything else?
It reminds me of what I've heard from Ramji, that basically, and how I approach karma yoga is that Ishwara is just presenting experience to me and I am responding. But then James says, you can say no to Ishwara. So
Exactly.
that's good advice, Arlindo.
Yeah, we can always say, because it's very easy to be hooked up, because there are some levels still of hooks in us, or fears or attachments. We don't want to lose our good image, the good image that people have about ourselves. One of the most difficult things is to live without having any concern about what people think of you. You understand? So, and this is something hard to develop, to the point that you say, no, I'm going to let this go. I don't depend on anybody's validation or good opinions about myself, because I know that, I am what I am. The verse 102, understanding the relationship between satya and mithya should become natural. When I am consciousness and I am not the body have the same meaning, okay? And then I am liberated while living. Okay, so this is an interesting verse. We know that the tool, the most fundamental tool, Vedantic tool, is this discrimination between the light of the illuminator and whatsoever is illumined by this consciousness, okay? So I need to understand this relationship between satya and mithya. In fact, from satya's standpoint, there is no relationship. From mithya's standpoint, there is a relationship, because mithya depends on satya and superimposes itself, apparently superimposes itself on satya. So therefore, we need to understand this relationship between mithya and satya, okay? So why we have to understand this? Because one is just an apparent reality built, constructed by name, colors, and forms, which is superimposed or project on the light of the illuminator, like the screen in the cinema. So understanding this relationship between reality and projection, okay, should become natural, okay? It becomes natural, this satya mithya discrimination and relationship, it's nature, but it's nature to the extent that there is no need anymore for anybody make an effort to discriminate. When it says become nature, it's effortless. Why? Because the purpose of this discrimination between satya and mithya is to isolate satya so that we can see satya for what it is and claim our identity in satya, as consciousness. So once that was done, and then this understanding, this discrimination becomes effortless. So, and then it's natural. You are properly established in consciousness. As consciousness, you know that everything is happening as a superimposition in my conscious awareness. And then when you come to that firm, well-established understanding or shift of identity, let's say, and then you're gonna understand that to know that your awareness depends on to know that I am not the body-mind complex. So I am not the body-mind complex, I am awareness. And what often we see in the world, the spiritual world, in the Vedantic world, is that some people, they understand I am awareness, but they are still invested in I am the body-mind complex as well, okay? So I can never claim and be properly established in consciousness, in awareness, as awareness, unless I let go of my identification with I am the body-mind complex. Otherwise, we stay with 1 foot on each one of these orders, and we are never really absolutely properly established in consciousness as the only reality, because the fact that I still have a great value for the notion I am also the body-mind complex, it says, it declares that I still find mithya, I still attribute reality to mithya, I still attribute reality to the body-mind and to the mithya world perceived by the body-mind. So when I am awareness and I am the body, have this, I am not the body, is having the same mithya, you are free, you are liberated while living. So I am consciousness, I am not the body. In the beginning, I was absolutely sure I am the body, I am the mind. Now I know that I am consciousness, but sometimes I am the body-mind complex. And then I need to really keep doing this work until it's clear to me that I am consciousness and consciousness alone. And my identity as the body-mind complex is incidental and not real. It's just an apparent reality, okay? But it does not have any value or reality intrinsic to itself. Everything is borrowed, is landed from I, conscious existence, awareness, okay? So when I am awareness, is equal, identical, it's based on my certainty that I am not the body-mind complex and I don't depend on experience, okay? I am awareness, I am not the body-mind complex. I do not depend on any experience because I am full, I am purna, I'm complete. So, and then I am liberated while living. Clear knowledge is liberation as you live. So which knowledge is this? Clear knowledge, I am free, limitless consciousness. So this, period. It's not like I am free, limitless consciousness, but I'm also the body-mind complex, okay? So we need to have this clear knowledge. So what is reality and what is just an apparent reality, okay? And I want to be properly and solidly established in awareness, as awareness, so that I can be free from samsara, free from suffering, and free from the cycle of reincarnation. This clear, hard and fast knowledge is liberation. So let's see the commentary here. Self-knowledge does not become permanent as long as you think that what is experienced is actually real, like right on. So if I'm still investing in the body-mind complex, I'm feeding, I'm nourishing the idea that the world of objects of experience have intrinsic value. They are real. They can really, complete me. So for as long as I still have this investment in what is not real, my self-knowledge is not really hard and fast and permanently held, okay? Because I'm still attributing value or reality to experience. Conditioned superimposition means that objects do not disappear when they are known to be unreal. So now we have this concept, conditioned superimposition and unconditioned superimposition. So conditioned superimposition is an imposition, is a projection that it's being done, and when you undo it, it still persists, okay? So you see a mirage, and then you understand the phenomenon, and then you undo it in your intellect, but still it's going to persist. Conditioned superimposition means that objects do not disappear when they are known to be unreal, okay? As the snake disappears when the rope is known. So the snake is going to disappear in the rope as the rope. But in that case, it would be unconditioned superimposition, because once you understand that it was just a projection, and then you cannot sustain that projection anymore, because now you have seen the rope, and no longer you can project the snake on the rope. They continue to appear just as a mirage continues to appear when it's known to be not to be water. It is ignorance to think that because something is not real, it does not or should not exist. There are so many examples of things that exist but are not real. And this is exactly what it means, unconditioned superimposition. There is a bizarre notion in the spiritual world that when the self is realized, the perception of the world changes. So this is very common, and some people may feel a little bit like disappointed when they come to Vedanta and Vedanta tells them the naked truth. So that this world is a projection, and once you enlighten, and then the world is not going to disappear, or it's not going to appear, as a transcendental world with an experience of only beauty and love and compassion and so on. No, the world is going to remain as it is, with suffering, with pleasures, with all pairs of duality. There is a perception of the world change. There is a bizarre notion, a spiritual world, that when the self is realized, the perception of the world changes. So now it goes back to what Lynn has said before. It does change, but it does not change. Okay, so it's the same world, but then it's perceived differently because there is a perception through the vision, wisdom, the wisdom of the Upanishads is going to allow the seer to see the world from a different pair of eyes or mind. You understand? You see it as just a superimposition, or you see it as a magic show produced by Maya Ishwara, which is beautifully, colorfully designed and projected and sustained. So you see that from that angle. So does it change? Yes and no. It does not change literally, objectively, it's the same world, but subjectively it changed, and that's what counts. So self-knowledge serves the purpose to resolve the pratibhasika reality experience in the Jiva Atma. So he wants to, if he is still bound to experience until he or she exhausts one's karma, it better be experienced from the perspective of wisdom rather than ignorance. Ignorance is going to keep projecting value, it's going to be suffering, experience pleasure and pain, and having more and more of this samsara psychological condition. So with wisdom, and then the world appears, but it seems to be just images on the screen of consciousness, which does not touch the screen of consciousness, although they appear to be real, but it's just a unconditioned superimposition in awareness, which does not condition awareness. If you associate moksha with a change in your karma, you have not understood who you are. So this is for the people who say, no, if once I understand who I am, and then usually people who think that self-realization is an enlightenment, that everybody is going to see a big light shining, you know. So once, if you still associate your self-knowledge with a total transformation of your karma, meaning to say, wherever you go, people are going to throw flowers, you know, and paying respect, you know, and so on. So if you think that it's going to transform your karma, moksha does not affect your karma, so you're going to be disappointed. It does affect your karma indirectly over time, and only then the quality of the karma, and how you relate to it, you know. So it, of course, it's going to change your karma, but it's not what people believe, that instantly people are going to, you know, pay respect to me, and I'm going to become a famous sage, a famous wise person. You understand? So even my sister and my son and our close relations are going to see our light, our wisdom. No, they don't see. You understand? They don't see it. The only people who sees it are the people who understand the value of self-knowledge, self-inquiry and self-knowledge. And then they see, wow, there is a value in the guru, there is a value in the teacher, you understand? But the people, they come to visit me, visit us, and they say, what your brother does? I don't know, he does one of these things there, you know? And because they don't understand the value of self-inquiry and self-knowledge. You have not understood who you are. Moksha does not affect karma, except indirectly over time, and only then the quality of the karma and how you relate to it. Karma continues to outpicture until the body dies. What is the meaning of this expression, outpicture? Karma continues to unfold itself until the body dies. Okay. Is that okay with you, Claudio? Are you not disappointed that your students are not recognizing you as a very wise person? Okay, the next verse.
No, I'm not disappointed. It's okay. This is Vedanta. This is the truth of the Vedanta, and it is good. It is good for me.
Yeah, when I got to Vedanta, I immediately realized that Vedanta was destroying my career as a guru. You know? I was at the beginning hoping that I was going to be a famous guru, and then Vedanta came and destroyed it. Referring to a liberated person, as scripture says, when duality disappears as a result of discriminating the self from matter, from the elements, from mithya, the person of steady wisdom abides in awareness as awareness, in consciousness as consciousness. He or she is free of rebirth, so says the scripture. And rebirth is re-identification with our vasanas, our desires and fears when it arises in the mind. Because the vasanas that cause rebirth have been neutralized by the knowledge, I am satya, I am consciousness, and vasanas, desires, fears, and experience do not belong to my order of reality, does not affect my true nature. They cannot, you know, overflow to that which I am. So what happens in mithya remains in mithya and never affects my nature in satya. So the rebirth is not possible because the desires and fears, they are just neutralized naturally and effortlessly as it appears in the conscious mind. The vasanas are the one that cause rebirth, our desires, our desire for more experiences, let's say, the desire for continuity, for more, to completion, of unfinished desires, unfinished business. So all these desires is what brings about another cycle, another birth, rebirth. And this knowledge, I am consciousness, is going to cancel or to destroy those desires. So isn't it interesting that a simple piece of knowledge can have the power to cancel all those vasanas, desires for more experience and better experience, and more satisfying experience. But as we have determined here, experience, they occur in duality, and there is no such thing as punya, 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 eternally punya. There is only punya, papa, papa, punya, pleasures and pains, just following one another. And so one who understood the game, the zero-sum nature of mithya, of experience, and develops the dispassion towards these objects of experience, and then it invests all its effort into understanding and claiming one's identity in satya as consciousness, and then gradually what's happening to all of those vasanas, those desires and fears that arise in the mind. So they are going to begin the process of starvation, because we feed our vasanas, we feed our desires and fears with our engagement, with our attention. Oh yes, come here, I'm going to feed you, And then the moment that we no longer play, now it came the picture of not being too dispassionate towards your likes and dislikes, like we were talking before, you understand? I don't want to be cruel with my vasanas. I don't want to be radical about my likes and dislikes. I have to feed them a little bit. Good luck. There is no problem. The vasanas are going to die, but they better die so that they can leave us in peace. So let they go and starve to death. And you don't want to feed them because you understood the game. You understood the game of run to gain, keep, and avoid things. And it's a never-end game, which is conducive to rebirth, and more rebirth. He is free of rebirth because he is no longer identified with desires and fears as it arises in the mind, because the vasanas that cause rebirth have been neutralized by the knowledge I am of the nature of consciousness, okay? And the experiences, the dualistic experience between the experience agent and the objects of experience, they belong to mithya, and mithya does not cross the border to satya. There is no need to put a wall or anything, it never transpass. It can never affect us in satya, our true nature, because, the same way the tiger in the dream state will never come to eat us in the awakened state, because they don't cross over these realities. So we have these suborders, we see mithya, and we have the fundamental satya mithya, and anything in mithya will never cross over to satya. So I understood that I am satya, I am consciousness, and I do not forget this when the body dies. He or she does not forget that when the body dies. And how about if we die unconscious? Oh, bad luck, then we have to come back. No. The knowledge is there, it's properly settled in the causal body, and then your subtle body goes unconscious, but you have the knowledge in your causal body, it has grown roots there, and then no chance for another cycle, another rebirth. Abiding in consciousness means never forgetting the fact that I am consciousness. And I am not the body-mind. The body-mind appears within my conscious awareness. I am not the body-mind. It's just an instrument by which I experience the other objects. It is an object, yeah? in respect to I consciousness. I bind means never losing that angle, that perspective in regards to the agent, the experiencing agent, and the world experienced by the experiencing agent. I keep that perspective, I keep that angle, that vision that I am this consciousness, and the body-mind is just mithya. Huh? Abide means keeping that perspective at all times. Huh? I am not the agent. I am the consciousness that shines, vivifying the agent and make the agent an experience knowing entity. Abiding means that it does not mean that you are established in a desirable and permanent super-essential experience other than the natural experience of object. This is very, very disappointing, huh? Because abiding in the self, people are going to say, oh my God, once I abide in the self, once I abide in my higher self, once I transcend to the higher dimensions, and then I'm my true self, and so on. When I abide there, I am properly established there in the higher self, and then I'm going to have a permanent, static, transcendental experience, But no, here it says like, no, you're going to have this ordinary nature experience of name, colors, and forms like before. And it's very insulting for the seeker of enlightenment, the people who are seeking enlightenment under the assumption that it's going to go into wonderful, blissful, transcendental experience 24/7. So this is very insulting. And people do not like to hear that. You understand? That's why James has thrown it there, It is ordinary. It's not only limitless, unconcerned, free, independent, but it is ordinary. It's the most ordinary thing. And the experience of the object will remain ordinary experience. But you say, no, that I want to go back to my yoga because I want to have mystical, exoteric experience. Go. Just create a vasana for those kinds of dualities, those kinds of experience, and see if that's going to free you, right? No, you're going to be experiencing this ordinary object. It also means, abiding the self also means that you know that you are not the author of your actions. So it includes the understanding of Ishvara. So you are not an agent, you are not an experienced entity, period. Okay, period. Okay, but the world of duality is not going to go away like some people imagine. You're not going to go in these realms in which you're going to be experienced, transcendental bliss or those sort of objects. No, you're going to remain here and you're going to experience the ordinary world of objects, okay? And since it does not go anywhere, you better understand that as this apparent experience entity, you have to live within the laws of Ishvara, you understand? You need to understand Ishvara and be grateful and conform your actions to these cosmic laws, which were established by the Lord of this unreal order of reality, this apparent order of reality. So it's you're not the doer, because if you still feel that you am the doer, you are still going to have some transcendental experience. Because if you feel I am the doer, I want to be the enjoyer of the results of the results of my study and contemplation on the teachings of the Upanishads. I'm sorry, I passed a little bit across the time. And anything else? Any commentaries? Nobody was offended. Nobody's going to drop off the bus of Vedanta. I know you guys are advanced students. You know all of that. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purna Purnamudachyate Purnam Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you, my friend. Thank you a lot. We meet again soon. Namaste. Next Thursday, I'm going to, yeah. So the same thing, huh? I count the time. I don't know. I'm gonna see how we do for the other timing. Any preference from you, Lynn, on Thursdays? Thursdays usually it's in the morning. Yeah, maybe not too early for you and Elizabeth. If she shows up, would be better, huh, or not?
Elizabeth, it's 7 a.m. in the morning. For me, it's 8.
Yeah, it's fine. It's
Okay.
fine with me. I
Then
just want to say that tomorrow I will, in this live, will be 88. Got that, Master?
Wow. Geez.
Okay.
Wonderful. Yeah, with such a sharp
Very good.
mind, yeah.
No.
Oh, modesty,
Yes, you do,
modesty,
Elizabeth.
modesty.
Thank you. All the best.
Okie dokie. Namaste, my dear. My dears,
Ciao.
namaste. Till next time.
Ciao.
Ciao, ciao.
Okay, thanks. Bye now.
Bye.
Bye.